a better attitude from Derrick Rose. I understand injuries happen, but he has to improve on that. We're going to head to commercial real quick. Then we'll be back with Garden State Sharks, Hometown Roundup, all that good stuff. So we'll be right back.
Kicking it. What are we kicking? A soccer ball. That's right, Infinity Sports Network now has its very own soccer show. Hosted by none other than Jake Leiker, Byron Tollefson, and Noah Tabor. We bring you all the latest news on and off the pitch in the soccer world, whether it be the international or club level. Like us on Facebook at Kicking It. And don't forget to tune in once a week on Spreaker.com/Infinity Sports Network. Listen to us there.
And we are back, Jersey Boys Sports Talk. Just to remind you guys, phone number for tonight is 862-400-6461. Call in with any questions you might have. We also will appreciate texts, or you could tweet at us, whatever you feel like, and we'll answer your questions. But without further ado, Garden State Sharks. This is actually picking up pretty well. I think this is one of our most popular segments right now. Would you agree, Snowball?
I like the segment. I'm going to miss it when the season's over.
Yeah, we're going to have to incorporate some kind of line talk, if you want to call it that. Just to recap from last week, we had Chiefs -2 at Bills. I don't know. I was pretty confident in the Bills. I think you were too.
I was too.
CB, he pretty much just picked the Chiefs because he needed to win. The Chiefs ended up covering and winning 17-3. Now, I was pretty confident in the Bills going, starting off the season. They lost to the Chiefs last week. They lost to the Dolphins Thursday night. Snowball, are they just becoming the same old Bills?
I like their defense still. I don't think so. I mean, I got to give it some time. I mean, Kyle Orton is actually not terrible. He's not doing a terrible job. I mean, I'm going to look at their schedule right now, see who they have left.
Now, to be fair, they did lose C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. So they are working with...
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they play the Jets, who they can beat. They play the Browns. I mean, I actually think it's more even than people would think. Broncos, obviously they can't. Packers, they play the Raiders and then the Patriots, which actually is a 50-50. The Patriots might not even play Tom Brady if the Patriots, clinch a bye or something by then. So the Jets, the Bills can... I want to say that, the Bills could potentially go 4-2, 3-3 in their final 6 games, which would make them... What would their record be then? Would they be 7? No. They would be, I think, 8-8. So, yeah, so they would have to win, they would have to beat the Packers or the Patriots or the Broncos. So, I personally really want to see the Bills make the playoffs. But, the AFC East, Patriots are a tough team. And the Patriots, they're good enough to kind of just pull away in that division. They still got the Jets, as I said, the Browns. I think they can beat, and the Raiders. It's going to be close. They'll be in the fight the whole year, but with an 8-8 record in the AFC, they probably won't make the playoffs. So, yeah, if you want to say they're the same old Bills, then they're the same old Bills.
I think the Bills definitely have a shot at the playoffs. I think the first wild card is definitely coming out of the AFC North. The division is coming down to Steelers-Browns. Whoever comes second in the division will definitely get a wild card, either the Steelers or the Browns. Now, the Bengals have been on the decline, so have the Ravens. So, the Bills just got to hope for the Ravens and Bengals to keep on losing.
Oh, I want to say one thing. For the top receiver for the game, actually, for the Bills Dolphins on Thursday night was Chris Hogan. Now,
who?
Chris Hogan. For those of you who don't know Chris Hogan, he is a Jersey boy. I want to say that. He's from my high school, Rampo High School. That's where he went. He's a Jersey boy from Wyckoff, New Jersey. So, we probably should have done that for the homer of the week or hometown round.
We can go more in depth for that.
Chris Hogan. So, congrats to Chris Hogan representing New Jersey. 74 receiving yards. He's got 2 touchdowns this year. Good job, Chris Hogan.
What team is he on again?
He's on the Bills.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for not knowing that.
He went to Monmouth. So he went to a Jersey school.
Oh, okay.
You know, he first went to Penn State for lacrosse and then transferred to Monmouth for football. So, went to a Jersey school, represents New Jersey, went to a Jersey high school, playing for the Bills. Pretty, close, kind of close. Close enough. And is representing Jersey and is doing good this year. He was on Hard Knocks. I mean, he's been on it all. So, representing New Jersey.
But yeah, like I was saying, the AFC wild card. Again, first one's coming down to the Browns Steelers. If the Ravens and Bengals keep on losing or lose enough games, it'll come down to Bills Chargers. Chargers are 5-4. I'm blanking on the Bills record right now. It's probably about the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bills are 5-5. So if the Bills can edge out the Chargers, they'll end up winning the wild card. I don't know how far they get in the playoffs, but that's a success in Buffalo. Now, the team that beat the Bills Thursday night, the Dolphins, were +3 at the Lions last week. CB tried to steal one with the Dolphins. We weren't having any of that. We both picked the Lions. The Lions covered and won. I was actually surprised how close this game was, but it was 2016. And I felt, for the way the Lions played, it wasn't as close as the score showed. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I agree with that.
The Lions are actually a really good team. Now, do you think they'll beat the Packers in the NFC North?
It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a big game because whoever wins that could really start to pull away.
Now, did they already play once, or they have 2 games to go?
I will check actually right now.
I know they played December 14th.
They did play once. Yeah, they did play once, and the Lions won. It was a really bad game. I remember. The Packers. It was week 2, so the Lions beat Packers 19-7.
And now they play Sunday, December 28th. That's a huge game in Lambeau.
Yes.
I think if the Lions win that, they should win the division.
Yeah. But the Cards, the Lions, I think they can beat the Cards.
Do you really?
Yeah. Even with Drew Stanton's the QB. The Lions' D-line's doing well. Stafford is actually not doing terrible. He does throw a lot of picks, which Peterson and Cromartie could definitely get him on. But with Megatron, Stafford's a different QB with Megatron. Could kind of just throw it deep, especially on Peterson, who's not that tall. We'll see how well he defends him. He's making a lot of money. But yeah, I think if Carson Palmer was QB, I'd definitely say Lions win. But I'm still questioning Drew Stanton. I know he's done some great things, but the Lions D, and with the team this good, more and more, they get more and more pressure on them as they get better and better. So it's going to be interesting to see, and I really think the Lions can pull this out on this one.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of Carson Palmer, the Cardinals, the Rams +7.5 at the Cardinals. CB didn't even try on this one. We all went Cardinals. Cardinals covered and won 31-14, but Carson Palmer is out for the season. Now, Carson Palmer might win best contract signing timing ever.
How about best steal? Best stealing of money ever.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's interesting because when he was in Cincinnati, he signed this huge contract extension. I forget the actual terms of it, but it was a relatively big contract extension. The next game, he basically shreds his knee, and doctors are telling him he might not play again. So now, a couple of years later, he signs this pretty big contract extension with the Cardinals. Given his age, it's only 2-3 years, I think.
Okay.
But it's a pretty big one. And then he goes out and tears his ACL. Obviously, prayers are with him. Hope he can come back for next season. Because he has been phenomenal for the Cardinals this year. Especially given his age. Now, the reason I think the Cardinals will still succeed in the NFC, I think it's going to, like you, I think it's going to come down to Cardinals and Lions in the NFC, but I think the Cardinals actually have a shot. The Cardinals are 8-1 right now, and the only game they've lost, because Drew Stanton has started a couple of games, the only game they lost is the game that Drew Stanton got knocked out of, and Logan Thomas came in, and that was against the Broncos. So I think if Carson Palmer played against the Broncos, the Cardinals would have had a shot at that game. And they win with Drew Stanton. They're not out of it.
He's not terrible. I'm not gonna say he's an awful QB.
And you can't go wrong with that defense either.
Okay. We'll see what happens. I'm actually really interested in it.
It's going to be good. It's going to be a good ending in the NFC. Yeah. Now your Giants plus 8.5 at the Seahawks. You couldn't even pick your own team.
Oh, I didn't pick. Oh, shoot, I did miss them.
You couldn't pick your own team. You knew the Seahawks were going to win.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The problem with Giants Seahawks, if the Giants play at home, they're probably going to lose. And if any team plays in Seattle,
that game was close. The Giants were winning 1 point. It was going.
It was close.
Eli does throw those deep balls, but if he didn't throw that just one to Odell Beckham, and that ball would have not been picked off, and maybe something else would have happened.
Are you suggesting to me that a 3-touchdown game was close, in which Marshawn Lynch had 4 touchdowns?
Yes.
All right, you're getting drug tested.
Okay, fine. I'm clean.
Panthers plus 6 at the Eagles. I don't know what was going through your head and CB's head. You both picked the Panthers. You want to defend that real quick?
I told you, I hate the Eagles, and I really actually thought Cam would have a decent game, but now he's supposedly hurt with his foot or something, and obviously that game was not close.
The Sanchez. Now, I think Mark Sanchez will probably end up being the best example in history of a system quarterback. Because Mark Sanchez is not very good at all, but he's succeeding in Chip Kelly's system.
It's similar to college. It's a similar college system. Sanchez was pretty good at USC, and this is, obviously, USC didn't really do no huddle like this, but it's similar to a college system, and I think Sanchez is comfortable in it.
I think it might be a Philadelphia thing, even. If you take a look at what Andy Reid did,
it's a new, location. It's a new slate for Sanchez. He's done with New York. He can move on from the troubles that was going on with the Jets. And, this is a team that's organized, is stable, has their owner, has their coach now probably for a couple of years with Chip Kelly, has a solid GM, and the Eagles actually have a decent line. Their line is not that bad either, which always helps with the QB. And it's just a system I guess Sanchez likes.
I agree. And like I said, Andy Reid did the same thing. He took A.J. Feely and made him look competent. He had Kevin Cobb, who was pretty successful in Philadelphia. Once he went to, where'd he go, Arizona? He was terrible. Yep. Donovan McNabb, once he left the Eagles, he was horrible. Michael Vick, he's not that great with the Jets. So maybe it's just something in Philadelphia. But to update you on the season standings, CB is still lagging behind, 21-27. Snowball, you're above 500 for the first time in a while, 25-23. I'm still light years ahead of both of you, 30-18. Now, hopefully you can make a comeback this week.
I'm trying to. I pretty much against you every time.
Now, I did I'll get to that when we cover that game. But first off, Texans plus 3 at the Browns. Why are you going Browns here?
Because they're home. The Browns are looking, they got a lot of confidence on them. Texans is Ryan Mallett's first game, so he's going to make mistakes. I think Joe Hayden's going to pick off Mallett. And I think Mallett will make some mistakes on his first start ever in the NFL. It's almost like he's a rookie all over again. I understand he was under Tom Brady for a few years, but you're always going to get a little jittery in your very first start. And the Browns are home. They're very confident right now. And I think they'll do a good job against Texans D, even if J.J. Watt is playing.
Now, here's my argument for the Texans. They are the underdog, so I like having the 3 points. The Texans are not a bad team. Obviously, I don't like Ryan Mallett starting. But teams in the AFC North are having a really hard time deciding this year whether they're bad or not. Because the Browns have been a great team. I shouldn't say great. They've been a good team. They blew out the Steelers. They split the series with the Steelers. They lost week 1, and then they blew out the Steelers a couple weeks ago. And then the Browns go out and lose to the Jaguars. They get destroyed by the Jaguars, 24-3. And then the Browns destroy the Bengals. the Steelers have been a pretty good team, but then they